Alright, what up YouTube? It's your boy Apollo Evolve. I'm back with another video. Today I wanted to update you guys on my progress with my 50K Top Step account. Your boy has officially gotten his first payout of 2025, and it was for about $1,083 USD. I am Canadian, so it's about 1,400 Canadian, but we'll just use the USD moving forward. Anyway, so it's about $1,000 payout, nothing crazy. A little backstory about how I got here is 5 years ago I started trading. One of my friends had introduced it to me as a way to make money. And of course, at the time I was like, damn, like, what is this? What is trading? And he was really propping it up and telling me how sick it is and how you can make money just by buying and selling. Obviously, at that time, I didn't really know what it was, but I could see that there was a lot of money that could be made. And back then, this was around 2019, 2020, Forex trading, the whole lifestyle was being promoted on social media heavily, especially on YouTube. People would promote their lifestyle, but mainly it was just people making money off of courses. And listen, nowadays there are a lot of people that sell courses that are actually valuable. But back in the day, it was a lot of fluff, and it was really hard to come by someone that was actually genuine. So the industry got a lot of flack for that back in the day, but nonetheless, trading was a real thing. And I had just started to embark into my trading journey. From there, I did see a little bit of success, but not too much. I'd deposit like $100, I'd make a couple $100, and then I'd end up blowing the account. And that repeated over and over and over again. I kept blowing account after account until prop firms came into the space, and I started to slow things down. So prop firms were already established. I think FTMO established itself in 2015. With that being said, I found out about prop firms around 2021, 2022-ish. Let's just say 2021. That's when I first started my FTMO journey. I started a bunch of trials, ended up passing it, got the confidence to start an actual account, got funded, but blew the account in the first day of being funded. You guys know how it goes. I got really excited, and maybe there was a little bit of luck attributed to me actually getting funded. But nonetheless, at that time, I was super locked in. I was just hopping on the charts at a specific time, following my plan, only trading one or two instruments, and just looking for that, one or two setups that I primarily take in my strategy. And I got funded, but I ended up blowing that shit ASAP. Fast forward to end of 2021. I'm still trying to get funded. I'll do the challenges whenever I have a little bit of money to spare. But at this point, ever since I got funded, I want to say like May 2021, I'd struggled to get funded after that. I think it was in 2022 is where I got funded once again in May or somewhere in that space. Actually, let's backtrack. I think then in 2022, me and my friend who introduced me into trading, we started a copy account essentially. So we had like one master account. This was back when Dominion Markets was available in Canada. Shout out Raja Banks. That's where I learned a lot of my strategy actually. With that being said, yeah, we started on his broker, Dominion Markets. We created a master account, and our goal was to find investors, which would be our family and our friends, and we'd put them on this little thing, and we'd take like a percentage fee, which is like, we set that up for 25%. If I'm not mistaken, it was going well for a little bit when we started that. We even ended up renting out our own office space. We got super excited about the whole operation. It was fun, but at the same time, we were not disciplined in what we had to do, right? We had a mission that we had set out to accomplish, but we treated the office like it was like a fun spot. On Fridays, we would buy like some drinks, some alcoholic beverages, and drink them in the office. Obviously after trading hours, but you can just start to understand that we weren't super locked into the process. We just, we were like enamored by the allure of being able to make a lot of money through trading. And we were trying to put as many people on it. We ended up losing a lot of people's money. With that being said, we did explain to them the risk, but it is one of those things that once we lost all this money, it affected me. I'm not sure how it affected him, but I'm assuming it affected him the same way as well. But we just ended up feeling defeated. We felt like we failed, which in that case, we did end up failing. But from there, I had to get a 9 to 5 again. See, before this, I was working like small odd jobs here and there. I was working at the bank, this and that. But in 2022, one of my homies, another homie, he actually had a job at a tech company doing sales. And so he referred me into the job, kind of walked me through the entire blueprint, and I was able to get a job at a tech company. And it was a pretty good job, man. I had decent pay, I had an opportunity to make money through commission, and I had a lot of vacation days and just personal days that I could use. So it was a good job to say at the very least. But unfortunately, around that time as well, actually even before I got the job, my mom was affected by this rare autoimmune disease, and from there she basically went from being like a full able-bodied person to overnight literally just like got paralyzed from the neck down. You guys search it up, GBS, Guillain-Barré syndrome. She had like a rare variant of it. So that was a life-changing moment for myself and as well as my family. With that being said, like at that point, I could have been super discouraged to not want to continue with the job interview, but I don't know what it was, but I ended up going through with it, and thank God I did, because that job literally saved my ass. It allowed me to accumulate enough money on a monthly basis to be able to like pay my bills and kind of support whatever situation that we were going through as a family. Around that time, I'd work, and it was remote. I would work remotely, and then after work, I'd go and see my mom at the hospital. And it's pretty tough seeing your mom in a position where she was in a coma for about a month, and then after that, she spent about like 8 months in the hospital, and then another 3 months in a rehab facility. So it was a long time where she wasn't home, and for most of it, she was like not able to do anything. Even now, she's just bedridden. So I'm a full-time caregiver for her. Nonetheless, like this is one of those things that has changed my life for the better and also the worse, because it's one of those, essentially it's a bittersweet moment, because when you're going through it, you think like, oh man, God, why me? But then you realize that it's also shaping you to becoming the person that you are destined to become. You have to go through adversity. You have to go through struggle in order to become the man that you were destined to be. I'm a firm believer in that. So bring on all the pain, bring on all the struggle. I'm ready to tackle any problem, however it comes, right? That's just that's the mentality you got to have as a man. This whole situation itself can be its own video, and probably one day in the future I will definitely do a deeper dive into my mom's situation and how that has changed my life. I'm 28 years old right now, so you guys can imagine. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people out there that have experienced this when they were younger, either like death or some sort of injury in the family or some sort of disease, whatever the case may be, something where the dynamic of your family shifts. There's people that have gone through it when they were younger, but there are also people that have gone through it later on in life. Nonetheless, you will eventually experience something that is going to change your life, change the way you view life. And yeah, that's basically it. But anyway, back to my tech job. So it was a cozy job. I was able to go see my mom. I was able to go do everything that I need to do, save up enough money. And then I was trading on the side as well, because again, I'm working remotely. So I would try to trade. And fast forward to about 2022, I believe. I think this is when I got funded once again, and it was with the Funded Trader. With the Funded Trader, you guys know what ended up happening with them. They ended up flopping. When I got funded, and I kid you not, like I was eligible for a payout. I think I had like 1,500, 2K ready for a payout. Their firm went under. And this is when a whole bunch of firms started going under. At that time, my confidence level went from sky high, and it dropped once again, because in my perspective, I had really binded or got emotionally attached to this payout that I was supposed to receive. And when inevitably, when the firm went under, that payout being gone kind of shifted my mindset. It made me become a lot more impulsive with my trading. Now, if you guys know Murphy's Law, anything bad that can happen will happen. I think that's how it goes. But anyway, Murphy's Law was in full effect around this time. So when TFT went under, I also ended up getting laid off. It was like a global mass layoff for tech companies that weren't doing exceptionally well at the time, given, with the whole COVID funding, all the stimulus checks were coming out, everyone had money, but then of course, everyone scaled up too astronomically high, and they couldn't keep up with that. They had to lay off a whole bunch of people. I think it was like 90% of my team got laid off, and I was one of those people. We did get a severance package. It wasn't too crazy, but at the same time, it made me realize like, fuck, like I should have been way further down in my journey. At this point, I do have a little bit saved up, but I'm thinking in my head, okay, this is what it is. I was gonna quit eventually. Let's take my savings, which was about 10, 15K at the time. Let's take this and go all in. Now I went all in, and for a bit it was going well. I was getting funded. At this point, I was able to get a payout of 5, 6K with funding pips. But at the same time, I was spending a whole bunch of money on evaluations, or I guess like challenges. And one of my friends, he had lost his cousin at the time, and he was going through like a dark period of life. And this is one of my best friends, so I really wanted to be there for him. But looking back, I realized that when people are going to crash and burn with whatever they're doing, like this, he started to basically drink a lot and smoke a lot and just kind of go down a negative thought pattern. And because again, he lost his cousin that he hung out with all the time, so it was like someone that was very close to him, and he's very close, and this friend is very close to me. So when he lost his cousin and I seen him going through down in the dumps, I essentially was like, oh, I gotta help my boy, I gotta help my boy. So I spent a lot of time with him, and like unconsciously I was picking up on his bad habits. So even though I wanted to self-improve, even though I wanted to make sure I was going to the gym, eating clean, waking up on time, going to sleep on time, focusing on trading, all these things, reading, meditating, he wasn't necessarily into all of that stuff, and he was just kind of going on his own tangent. And this is not really his fault. It's more so my fault. I should be able to take myself out of that situation. If I could go back in time, I most definitely will. But this is a period where I was seeing a little bit of success with the prop firms, but inevitably, because my external habits were bad, because now I'm hanging out with a friend that always wants to drink and smoke and just hang out late and not really do anything, not really progress anywhere, because he's going through his own mental journey after losing his cousin. The path to success is very lonely. You're gonna have a bunch of your best friends, your girlfriend maybe, or your family members, anybody that's close to you. A lot of people are just not going to understand what you truly want from life, and that's fine, because you're not going to understand what they truly want from life. But because they don't really understand where you're coming from, don't expect them to follow along with your journey. They don't see the vision. Before, I wasn't able to wrap my head around this concept, and I always felt like I needed to drag everyone up with me. But inevitably, that is only going to hold you down, because you put your hand out and they might grab your hand, but the whole time they're still holding on to the anchor at the bottom, and they don't want to let go of the anchor. All they have to do is let go of the anchor, and you can bring them up shore, right? Wrong. People don't want to be saved. You cannot change people unless they want to change. That is something that I've learned throughout my years as living on this earth. And yeah, listen, I wish that was not the case and you could help everyone around you. But unfortunately, a lot of people, they just have to crash and burn in order to learn their lessons. And that is what it is. You have to look out for yourself at the end of the day, because if you crash and burn, brother, it's nobody's fault except your fault. And you cannot look left or right and try to blame someone else for your shortcoming, because it was all on you, and you decided that you wanted to do X, Y, and Z, and that led to whatever result that you got. So fast forward, hanging out with my friend that was going through this tangent, or going through these dark times. Eventually, we just sort of started to separate, because I ran out of money, right? Like I ran out of my savings and I need to get a job again. So this is kind of fast forwarding to 2025. I got my job once again after being unemployed for about a year, and some pretty dark times. At the same time, I'm also taking care of my mom. So in my head, I'm thinking, oh, I'm taking care of my mom. I'm going to the gym. I'm living the unemployed life. I'm a trader, so I'm able to, make money from just trading a certain set of hours, and then I, have all this time back so I can take care of my mom. And, I basically got into this cycle of getting complacent, thinking that I was doing enough when really I wasn't even scratching the surface. I think a lot of people reach this point once you start to see a little bit of success. You start sitting on your high horse. You start thinking, I'm that guy now. I'm doing everything I need to do. I'm in good shape. I'm taking care of my people. But what I failed to realize was, when I actually looked at my situation from the outside in, I realized I wasn't doing enough. I was barely scratching the surface, and there were so many other areas that I needed to work on as a man. That is the realization that I had earlier this year, which forced me to lock into life and take it much more seriously. And fast forward to now, I got a job recently. One of my homies hooked it up, got me a reference, and it's an entry-level job, nothing crazy. I make about $3,600 a month, which is enough to pay the bills, but and I'm working 4 to 12 remotely. So it kind of works with training in the morning, taking care of my mom, going to the gym, doing all these things, making videos, building up my social presence or social medias. And yeah, it's one of those things where now I'm like in a grind mode. Once again, I'm in a routine. But every time that I have faced some sort of setback, I've been able to pick myself back up. And this time around, a lot of the feelings that I had about greed and the fear of losing and the fear of not being able to take care of my people, because essentially when this happened with my mom, I felt like, damn, if I had like enough money, I could have put her in the best rehab facility. I could have sped up her process. I could have got her the best care. But because I was goofing off most of my life, unfortunately, I wasn't able to be in a position where I'm able to take care of my family. And that's what I want to preach to you guys is don't waste your time. And now fast forward to right now, we just got $1,000 payout, first payout ever since October 2024. Yeah, it's $1,000, but I feel very calm about it. I feel like I actually followed my system this time around, and all I have to do is scale my accounts up, get max allocation on a couple of firms, and that 1K payout turns into 10K payouts, 20K payouts, 30K, 40K, 50K, 100K, right? The sky's the limit. That's where I'm at right now. I'm looking to scale up. I'm looking to take this to the next level. I'm super locked in now. I've started to branch away from all the negative energy around me. I realized that in my environment, a lot of people are just not serious. And truthfully, I stopped caring about that. If you're not serious, that's your problem. I don't want anything to do with that. I'm serious about where I'm going in life. And if you can come with me, that's great. But if you can't, sayonara, my friend. I'll catch you later. That's really the type of mindset that you got to have moving forward. Because not everyone is going to be willing to come along with you on your journey. A lot of people are going to go their own path, and that's fine. That is how life is supposed to be, guys. Nonetheless, $1,000 payout 2026. It's going to be a great year. I'm going to be dropping a whole bunch more videos and kind of documenting the process with you guys. I'm still unprofitable, but listen, by 2026, I'm going to be profitable. I'm stamping it on this video right now. I feel good. I feel great, guys. I'm going to take you along this journey, and hopefully you guys can learn a thing or two from my shortcomings and also my wins in this scenario. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Share your journeys in the comments. I'd love to see if anyone's had something similar in terms of journeys, or maybe anything that's unique about your own journey. But nonetheless, guys, thank you guys for watching. Peace.